Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In this video we want to learn how to pronounce past verbs with ed at the end. There are three different ways that the ed at the end of a verb can be pronounced, and we're going to learn how to pronounce them, but through a story. We're going to read a story about Tom. Tom is having a terrible morning. And by reading the story, we're going to see some of those verbs and learn how to pronounce them. I'm going to tell you the general rules also. So let's start. Tom was having a terrible morning. He dropped his phone in the toilet, then he missed the bus and had to walk in the rain. So he's having a terrible morning. He's having a very bad day because he, first of all, dropped his phone in the toilet. Drop. Here's my phone. I drop it. Okay? It drops. So the phone was dropped. Dropped ends with a P and then ed, so the pronunciation is dropped with a T sound at the end. The rule is if you have P and then ed, the ed is pronounced with a T sound, like dropped. Then he missed the bus. The same thing with missed. Missed is also pronounced with a T at the end, missed. Because S is similar to P, and when you have S or P or some other letters, the ending is with a T when we have ed. Here is the general rule. There are three ways, as I said, there are three different ways they can be pronounced. For the T sound, you need your word to finish with ch, se, pe, ke, fe, or she sound. If you have a word that ends in one of these sounds, remember the writing is not important, the sound is important. Then the ed is pronounced as te. And the reason I say the writing is not important, the sound is important, you can think of words like laugh. Laugh ends in gh, but actually the pronunciation is that of a fe. Or box ends with an x, but the last sound you hear is se. Or face. Face is written with a ce, but the sound you hear is se. Another one is pronounced. Pronounced. As you see, there is a C, but what's important is that this C is pronounced as se. When you have one of these sounds, then the ed is te. So we have words like laughed, boxed, faced, and pronounced. And in this text, there is dropped and missed. So the rule is important, but what you need to do is practice. Practice saying dropped many times. Make a few sentences with the word dropped. I dropped my phone. I dropped a bike. I missed the train. I missed the call. Let's move on. So just remember the story. Tom is having a bad day. He dropped his phone and he missed the bus. By the time he got to school, his socks were wet. The socks, what you put on your feet, they were wet. They were not dry. There was water in them. They were wet. And his homework was ruined. When his friend said good morning, Tom growled like a bear. He didn't want to talk. So he is angry, he's unhappy, and he sounds like a bear. Bear is the animal you see in jungle. And his homework is ruined. His homework is destroyed. At lunch, someone offered him a cookie, but he just stared at it. He just looked at it when they said, oh, here's my cookie. He's like, oh. Tom is in a bad mood, someone whispered. Whisper is when you say something quietly to someone. Tom didn't care. It wasn't important for Tom. Even the school dog, who usually made him smile, didn't help. So he is unhappy and he's in a bad mood. Then he saw a video of a goat singing opera. For some reason, he laughed so hard he nearly cried. Suddenly, the cloud over his head started to go away. So he saw a video of a goat which was singing opera. Don't ask me why a goat would sing opera. I have no idea. But he laughed so hard he nearly cried. Suddenly, the cloud over his head started to go away. He started to feel happier. Remember, the word laughed has a fe sound at the end, so it's laughed with a t. Laughed. Maybe I was just hungry, Tom said. He said. Tom apologized to his friends. The goat had saved the day. Sometimes a bad mood just needs a goat with talent. So the idea is sometimes you just need to see something funny, like a goat with a talent, to be in a better mood. Here, pay attention to words like apologized or saved. Apologized or saved has a simple D sound at the end. That's the third form that ED can be pronounced. All right, Tom. Okay, so that's it. It's just the goat who saved the day. But now let's take a look at our rules for pronouncing ED. There are three different rules. The first one is for te. The te, I told you, it's these sounds. You can try to make many examples with them and practice. If you have one of these sounds and then ED, the sound of ED is te. Another one is ed. Ed is very simple. There are only two letters, T or D. If you have a word that ends in T or D and then ED, then it's ed, like wanted, waited, and started. It's D or T, right? And then ED. And if you have any other letter, any other sound at the end of a word, it's a simple D sound. Now let's see examples. For T sound, dropped, missed, walked, stopped, laughed, and helped. I would like to encourage you to read the sentences there with the correct pronunciation of these words. I read them again. Dropped, missed, walked, stopped, laughed, and helped. If you read those words, that will be good practice. The next is an ed sound. An ed sound is if you have a word that finishes with either T or D. Here are the examples. Wanted, needed, decided, expected, invited, and shouted. And if you have any other sound at the end, then it's a D sound. Not an ed, not a te, it's a de sound. Ruined, offered, stared, seemed, apologized, and saved. I'm sure you can find more examples and you can practice this a lot. So I hope this has been helpful. And till later, take care and enjoy your days.